Hello, how are you? I hope you are doing great. Today I'm going to talk about travel and tourism industry. I'm your instructor, Claire. Let's get started. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. This is a very simple introduction that I'm now a tour guide working for my Taiwan tour. And before I became a tour guide, I was a teacher before. After I graduated, I was a teacher. And then after a few years, I feel like, oh, I want to explore the world more. So I did my working holiday, like 2 years in Australia and 1 year in New Zealand, respectively. And I had worked in the snow resort, the coffee shop as a barista, and also on a farm, like picking grapes, picking tomatoes, lots of different farm works. So during this time, I also spent a lot of time traveling around. So I've been to pretty much everywhere in Australia and New Zealand. And of course, I do love traveling. So I've traveled to more than like 30 countries so far. So now I'm going to share, some thing about traveling and tourism. So after my like long working holiday, I came back to Taiwan and then I became a fashion magazine editor that I need to translate some articles and also to interview some celebrities in Taiwan. It was very challenging, but a lot of fun. And then I became a tour guide. It's also very fun that I get to know a lot of people and then to share my passion about Taiwan. So that is a brief introduction about me. Okay, so let's talk about this. What's tourism? What is tourism? You can tell directly from this picture that it's a big world. We can also say it's a small world that you can travel by means of it can be cruise ship, it can be airplane, it can be anything, and then you can visit different places and experience different culture. So if we were talking about tourism, the definition is that it's travel for pleasure or business. So it's not just going on holiday during your day off. It can be also for the business trip. So it can be for pleasure or business, and also it's a business. It's a business of like attracting or accommodating and entertaining tourists, and a business of operating tours. So according to World Tourism Organization, this is WTO, which stands for World Tourism Organization. This organization defines tourism more generally. It says that it's beyond the common perception of tourism as being limited to holiday activity, not only as people traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure and not less than 24 hours, business and other purposes. So according to this definition, it's like you go to a different place, no less than 24 hours, but no longer than 1 year, and that is considered tourism. Okay, so let's talk about something more practical. So, top 5 sectors in the tourism and travel industry. Okay, so when we travel abroad, like travel, this is a huge business. Like many countries, the economy really depend on this industry. So can you just pause for 3 minutes and think about what what other business are involved in tourism? Okay, now pause and think. Okay, welcome back. I think you have figured out what these are, right? Let's find out. So the first, of course, accommodation. So accommodation, since you will be staying overnight or longer, this sector is often top importance. This is very important, like accommodation. I mean, if you are not if you are not a park lover, you can stay in the park, just to. But most of the time, and most people, we will stay it can be hotels or cruises. Like if you are doing a cruise ship, you can, stay in a cruise. It can be a farmhouses or B&B, like breakfast and bed B&B, or some prefer camping. Camping is a lot of fun. Like in Taiwan, camping and glamping are getting more and more popular, especially on the East Coast. And also, apart from the hotels, many people they like to stay in a so-called Airbnb that they can have more interaction with the local people. So that is also another sector in the tourism industry. So first, accommodation. What else? Transportation. Yes. Okay, so transportation. Of course, like without this sector, traveling to and forth would not be possible. So it includes like railway, coach, car rental, airlines, water transport. It can be all sorts of transportation. I mean, it's also depending on where you are going. For example, like if you are going to Japan, Japan is like a really cool place. If you are a train lover, that there are many themed trains that runs through different areas. So some people they will just take just buy the pass, and then that pass will allow you to take different railways to travel around. And also some countries, for example, like Venice, that people will take the water taxi or to take the boat to go around different islands. So that is also a very important transportation in there. So depending on where you are, like for example, I travel a lot and sometimes like I like to rent a car. It can be a car, it can be a camper van that I can sleep in the car, or I can hire a really cool car depending on where you are and just drive around and enjoy the freedom of driving in a foreign country. That is also a lot of fun. So that is also another really important part of in this industry. So that means that if there's no tourists, all this industry will be, it's not like hard to survive, but really hard. Like they will make a lot less money than now. So it's very important. What's next? Of course, entertainment. So entertainment includes tours, or shopping, or casino, amusement park, or theater, and blah blah blah. A lot, a lot, a lot. So of course, sometimes people they like to do the tours when they go to a different country, so that they have a tour guide and also maybe a van to drive them around. And of course, sometimes people like to do a little bit like gambling. Go to a casino, spend some money, and probably make some money and be a millionaire. But maybe you just like, okay, it's all in your dream. But casino, that is another part of entertainment. And amusement park, theater, of course, like if you are going to New York, you definitely go to Broadway Street. If you're going to England, of course, you want to enjoy the musicals. So different parts of entertainment. And then that is also the very important part when you go to a foreign country. Even it's just for business, you still want to see something. You still need some fun. You want to go shopping. You want to go see what is fun in that place, what is different from where you were from, right? So entertainment. And next, when you travel, of course, you need to eat. So, food and beverages. So these include nightclubs, bars, cafes, restaurants, caterings. Some people they even go to a certain country just to go to the Michelin starred restaurants. So, it's like a huge magnet to attract people there. And then sometimes if you want to experience a different culture, it's a cool idea to go to the nightclubs or bars, right? And then you get to know some local people. So food and beverage is definitely important, especially some countries with a special, like for example, like India or Thailand, or Mexico. The food there is quite different and is in general is quite good, right? So food and beverage F&B. Last but not least, related industries, for example, like travel agencies, tour operators, financial services. These are all included in this industry. So from this clip, we can tell that when we're talking about tourism, it involves a lot of people, a lot of like job opportunities, and of course, it's very important to our economy. Okay, this is just a very general idea. Now let's. Okay, so next, an uptrend in tourism. So we have to view tourism from time to time in order to know what is happening in the world and it kind of like adjust our pace to the changes. So there has been an uptrend in tourism over the last few decades, especially in Europe where like international travel for short break is common. Like especially in Europe, there are some cheap airlines like Jetstar or EasyJet or Train. Sometimes you can get a really cheap flight, and that will allow you to travel in Europe. So that makes traveling a lot easier, and that is a new trend especially after year 2000. And then also tourists, they have got a like wide range of budgets and tastes, and kind of like a wide variety of resorts and hotels have like kind of like developed to cater for them. For example, you can go to a really like fancy hotel. You can spend over 10,000 per night at a fancy hotel. Some people they prefer the very simple but clean hostels, which is more like affordable. So it's a great variety depending on what you're looking for. So for example, some people they prefer the simple beach vacation, stay in the beach or in a resort doing nothing, just relax. While others they want more like specialized holidays, like they want to go hiking or doing yoga or just go for different Michelin star restaurants, more like specialized holidays. Or maybe it can be a family oriented holiday, like you bring your kids to Disneyland or Universal Studio, or go to the theme park, or just the kids. They want to be a basketball player, so they okay, I'm going to New York and I want my kids to join a basketball camp. So it can be like a family-oriented holidays or kind of like a niche market target destination hostels. So this has been a change now compared to like 10 or 20 years ago. You just have to keep updated of what's going on. So let's see what kind of tourism we have. I have listed uh, seven tourism variant. Let's start with the first. Okay, first we are looking at sustainable tourism. I think most of you have heard about this word quite a lot. So what is it? When you talk about this, you think of three things: economic, environment, and social cultural. So of course, we care about the environment. At the same time, we want to make money. It's not like a big money. It's like a money that we can make for a long term. And of course, social cultural. For example, like in Taiwan, there's an island called Xiaoliuqiu. It's in South. If you come to Taiwan and if you have that time, there's a small island in southern Taiwan that there's a great chance that you can see sea turtles. So what local people do is that they encourage everyone. They encourage the tourists to bring their own like toothbrush or towels or everything. They will bring it on their own so that they don't have to use the disposable ones, which is good for the environment. Apart from that, on that island, there is a special cup. We call it 流行杯. So it's a cup that you can rent it from 7-Eleven or from certain shop. You can use it for 5 days, and then you can rent it from point A and return it to point B. So by doing so, you don't need to use any paper cup or plastic cup. You can use that cup to get all the drinks, which is good for the environment. So that's a very good example for sustainable tourism. I think we will have another 3-hour course to talk about sustainable tourism, and then you are gonna have a better idea then. Next, dark tourism. What is dark tourism? It's something like the concentration camp, or like maybe there's a battleground, or there's like a scene of the horrible movie. So, or it's just about like a genocide. So people they go to maybe it's a prison, or for example, like you go to Germany, you go to Portland. Of course, you wanna see what happened before. You know many people are interested in the concentration camp, like of what's happening before. So that is called. It's like a dark history, but now it can become we call it dark tourism. Next, ecotourism. Eco, of course, is about the environment. So we care about our earth. We want to be more like environmental friendly. So sometimes we travel and then we want to preserve the local culture, but at the same time to make money. So that's about ecotourism. I'm not going to talk too much about this because we will also have another 3-hour course to cover this. Okay, pro-poor tourism. Is that okay? Maybe you are from a rich country, or you just want to experience what the life was like in Africa or in some poor countries, just to kind of like broaden the view. So people go to this relatively like poor country for tourism, for the experience. Okay, educational tourism. Educational, of course, is educational, right? So probably you go to Spain to learn Spanish, or you go to France to take some cooking class to learn how to make pastry, or you want to learn painting in the country you love. So it's like you travel in a purpose of getting something back. It's like you move the classroom from your country to another. Right, next, medical tourism. Okay, this is a new trend that many people, they go to, for example, like girls, they like to go to South Korea to do some plastic surgery. So it's not, okay, so you go to the place for like 3 or 4 days and then you do the plastic surgery and then you come back or something like that. It's just like, you want to take advantage of the medical resources in that certain places like South Korea, or maybe many people they like to go to Thailand or Taiwan for the medical treatment. So that is another new trend of tourism. Next, religious tourism. Okay, so this is of course about religion. Like I remember like last year before COVID-19, I was in Italy and then I was, like in St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, many people, they have to go there. They want to go there. It's even many people's dreams to go there to see the great building and everything and experience it. So this is like a very important, or many like countries, they can kind of like they want to promote the religious tourism. All right, so now I also listed like 5 more tourism variants to talk a bit more about it. The first, movie tourism. Then of course, many people they like to watch the movie, and after that is, oh, where was this movie shot? And then you can see the picture on the left hand side. Have you watched this movie before? The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's about different adventures, and most scenes are shot in Iceland. So when I travel to Iceland, I will like point out from my map. I will mark down on my map like, okay, I'm going to this place because I wanna see this and that because that was in the movie. So many people, they will go to mark down all the places that they have seen before in a movie. So that's a very very example of promoting the tourism for that certain country. Another perfect example, of course, The Lord of the Rings. Many people, where was this mostly shot? New Zealand, right? So yes, New Zealand, many people they go there and then they must visit a place, as you can see here, the Habitat, which is not far from Auckland. They want to go to see this house, or they want to see the volcano there. They want to see the bush, mostly in South New Zealand, because they are the movie lover. So this becomes a very good way to promote tourism. And then also, apart from this, there are many like movies like like Game of Thrones. Who likes Game of Thrones? Like many movie scenes are shot in Iceland as well. And then I was in Croatia, and then there was a place called Dubrovnik. It's also like, oh, this is where the Game of Thrones was shot, which is really cool. Or like in Thailand, there was a PP Island. It became famous because of the movie called The Beach, which was by Leonardo DiCaprio. So movie tourism. So now you can stop and think like, okay, in your country, what maybe you can you can think of like one movie, or what can make it a popular tourist attraction for people. Okay, volunteer tourism. Volunteer tourism is that you want to be a volunteer. For example, you go to India, you go to Africa, or you want to be a volunteer. You work with an NGO. You can teach English, or you can go there to perform, or you can take the people who are sick. Okay, so it's called volunteer tourism, also called voluntourism. So it's like you want to have another experience, a little bit similar to pro tourism, and then you wanna, kind of like it's like a attempting to assimilate it into local culture and avoid the criticism of consumptive and exploitative mass tourism. This is also a really cool thing to do, especially people in their gap year, like youngsters, and then they can totally change their life, in my experience, to cherish your life even more. All right. Event tourism, of course, event tourism. Like in here, I show you this is the picture you see here. This is the music festival called South by Southwest that is hosted in Austin, Texas annually. So this is like a really, really good example because every year people from all over the world, they flock to this city for 1 week to enjoy the music or the technology talks and also the shopping and the souvenirs. This is a huge event every year in March. But apart from that, you can list a lot of different things, right? For example, like a carnival in Brazil, or like a Tomorrowland, another music festival in Belgium. Or of course, when you think of Germany, oh, you think of, okay, Oktoberfest, beer festival, right? Or you go to Venice, oh, I want to do the mass carnival. I want to be in there. So there are lots of events that is really cool to for some people to say I must do that there. I must go there in my lifetime. This is a must do. Or like in Taiwan, every year in summer there's a hot air balloon festival in Taidong. So many people they will rush to that place. There, if you don't book the accommodation earlier, there's nowhere to sleep because it's super popular. So speak of hot air balloon festival, like in America, in New Mexico City, there's also another balloon festival which lasted for 9 days, and it's in October, and over 500 hot air balloons will float into the sky, which is also really cool. So I think event is also another cool things that to attract people. Next, immersion tourism. This is easy, right? So it's like to have some hands-on activities. For example, to learn how to cook the Chinese food, to make the xiaolong bao. Or you go to Thailand, it's also very popular. Many people go to Thailand to learn how to make Thai food. Or on the right hand side from this picture, you can see these people are making paper. So they have the hands-on experience like doing like DIY, do it yourself. And then they can connect the local history, the people, the food, culture, and then you will have more impression about the place or about the industry, which is very fun. This is also the tourism that we encourage you to think or to develop because this is definitely will add the depth into the tourism. It's not just like, oh, sitting in a tour bus and enjoy the scenery, taking picture, that's it. No, it's more like you think that you are in that place. You know the industry better by get your hands dirty. Immersion tourism. Last but not least, doom tourism. So from this picture, you can see the glacier, for example, like melting glacier of Patagonia, or the coral of the Great Barrier Reef, because you know that if you don't do it now, you never see that in your lifetime because they will disappear. They will be gone forever. So this is like a new trend that people they wanna see this, they wanna do this as fast as they can before it's too late because of climate change or global warming. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it. That is about the different types of tourism. Now let's take a break and then we will come back and talk more about it. Take a break.